Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. The guy next to me, his name is Tim, and this is The Second Legacy, and thank you for stopping by. Well, my brothers and sisters, the time has come. We have let enough time pass. We have enough information coming out to where we can start fully breaking down why the gun controllers who ran out with their hair on fire saying that we should lose all of our gun rights immediately in the wake of the terrible tragedy that happened in Maine. Yeah, there's a few things coming out, and I don't know why, guys, but I have a sneaky suspicion there might be something lower hanging fruit to stop these problems than just taking all of our gun rights. I don't know, Tim. What do you think? Maybe just like
Yeah, but that's something we bring up regularly, but the anti-gunners always have the same fallback. Well,
yeah,
it's people may be doing this, whatever. We got to ban the guns. So
yeah,
that
100%.
because we have a drug problem in the United States, and banning drugs has been so effective. I mean, that really addresses the underlying problem, doesn't it? Just we'll just ban
nailed it. It nailed it.
Then we can just move on and forget about it. Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's just, I think there's a few things, Tim, that we need to set the baseline for, because we're about to, if you guys are new, we're about to dive in to the Maine tragedy, because even more information has come out, which it's hard not to get very angry about this. I'll be completely honest with you. So we're going to try our very best to stay baseline.
Well, you are anyway.
I'm going to try my darndest. But one of the things that's really, really terrible about these tragedies when they happen, and we want them to stop, by the way, because the left will tell you we just want to propagate this and let it keep happening. That's a complete lie, by the way, Davey.
Well, actually, it's the inverse, because what they accuse you of is what they're actually doing themselves. But go ahead.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying for the baseline though, for the baseline,
allegedly,
allegedly, we're about to walk through some things on the Maine tragedy, which should never happen. We should find a way to stop it. And by the way, we have solutions other than banning guns. But the thing that's so irritating about this, Tim, is just huge, insane occurrences have occurred back to back to back, and people just keep on ignoring it and letting it go. And then a huge, massive tragedy happens, like what we're about to reveal for the audience. And all of a sudden, it was so simple. We could have taken guns the whole time. And I'm like, what? Let me just read you this headline, Tim. Number one, Mr. Producer. Army said Maine shooter should not have guns and requested a welfare check. Okay. Hold on a second, Tim. Hold on. Are you telling me that the Army saw some concerns, and the things we're about to show you in this ABC article are also even more concerning? You're telling me, Tim, that the Army said this and Maine police knew about it, and yet this person wasn't off the streets, wasn't nothing.
Yeah. Army didn't bring him in, commit him. Nothing.
Yeah.
And, what do we always hear these anti-gunners ranting and raving about aside from gun bans? Red flag laws. They love them. Well, Maine has a red flag law. They call it a yellow flag law. Why do they call it a yellow flag law? Because it isn't quite as strict as they want it to be. So it gets a yellow flag designation. Perhaps we have an orange flag, red flag, yellow flag, blue flag, pink flag. I mean, it's the whole rainbow assortment of flags, apparently. But the reality is Maine has a red flag law. And once again, look, these anti-gunners always want to impose these rules and laws and whatnot on people. They don't enforce them, and then they fall back to, let's just ban guns. It's like,
yeah,
what is your point in a ball? Well, we know what the point is, but
well, we know the point. Right? hey, guys, you just saw in real time that was him being calm. That's amazing.
The laws don't work. They don't enforce them. They don't even attempt to enforce them. They just pass them, and then they still fall back to, well, it happened again. We had this on the books. We didn't do anything with it, but we just need to take the guns, because that's where they're trying to get to.
Right. The U.S. Army determined piece of human filth should not have a weapon. The U.S. Army. Yep. The Maine police sent out, I did this on my channel, they sent out a statewide bulletin a month before saying that he should be contacted and we should probably look into this because of homicidal threats.
Where was their yellow flag law?
Right. That's the whole point. But what we're about to break down, and we're easing into this, but what we're about to break down is all of these individual instances where someone could have done something, and then this horrible occurrence happens, and you know what? It's obvious, Tim. Obvious. We just need to ban all the guns. It's disgusting. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely disgusting. And that's, see, I'm already getting amped. I'm already, my heart is already starting to go.
It's hard not to, because you see this infuriating behavior, and then you see their constant fallback, mm-hmm. And that's just, they don't care about anything other than pushing their agenda forward. That is their single narrow focus. Yeah. They don't care what happens in the world. The bad stuff they'll capitalize on. They can't race to a microphone fast enough when something bad happens to push their agenda, but all they want to do is take your guns away. It has nothing to do with safety, has nothing to do with
No.
stopping people from carrying out acts that clearly have mental health problems. They don't care about any of that. All they care about is getting the guns out of your hands. That's all this is about.
And that's the part that's so maddening. And if I could draw one highlight for people who are on the middle of the fence, who are just kind of waffling left and right, like where do we sit on the gun rights, not the gun rights thing? Look at what these people are doing. For example, the more information that comes out like this, the more they will fade off into the distance and not say anything. Okay, so now let's go to, I'm just going to throw two things up here, and you guys can let us know in the comments field how insane this is. So, number 2, Mr. Producer. Before last week's mass situation in Maine that left 18 dead and 13 wounded, the U.S. Army says Human Filth commander was told he should not have access to an Army-issued weapon and that it asked the local sheriff's office to perform a welfare check. Okay, so we've gone Army, no-go. Then they reached out to civilian. Well, let's go to number 3. In a statement to ABC News on Monday, Lieutenant Colonel Ruth Castro, a U.S. Army spokesperson, said that following his mental health hospitalization and evaluation in mid-July, this piece of crap's commander was told he should not have a weapon, handle ammunition, and not participate in live fire activity. Okay, Tim, holy crap.
Right. Yeah.
You have been put into a mental institution. Your Army supervisors are saying you cannot have a weapon, be near ammunition. You can't even be on live fire. You have issued active threats against your military base. The police put out a statewide bulletin to come get you because of those threats. Nothing happened.
Yep. But it's the guns.
But it's the guns.
Yeah.
But it's the guns. It's so simple. Can't you see?
Right.
It's infuriating.
It's so beyond infuriating, but this is the same recipe time and time again. And it.
Yeah, but
no, go ahead. Get it all out.
Sorry. So I'm trying, dude. This is the part that's so. If you zoom out and look on this on a macro level, man, people died.
Mm-hmm.
Like family members do not have family members anymore. And guess what? It's not the gun's fault. That one-dimensional, simpleton thinking is idiotic.
Mm-hmm.
People actually died. You won't go anywhere near any type of policy solution outside of banning firearms because that's what you want. And you're sitting in your corner and you're saying, just do something as long as it's my something. While people actively died and you're only going to sit there and make hay off a political tragedy. I know. You need to start talking.
But this is how they do things. They've done this stuff through my entire adult life, right? We know that they have playbooks that are sitting in standby. So when a tragedy like this occurs, they can race out in front of the camera and cite off all their bullet points of all the things they want to do to strip you of your rights. They look forward to these events in some sick, twisted way, allegedly. But there's no other way to perceive what they do or what they don't do. They'll tell you, well, we just want to pass reasonable restrictions. Well, they pass their reasonable restrictions. We got NICS. We have yellow flag laws, red flag laws in Maine. They've passed all these restrictions, and they claim that this is all we really want. But then they don't do anything with the restrictions they have in place because they still let this stuff go on. Clearly, something was let happen here. Well, whatever went on here, I can't say was done on purpose. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they saw there was a problem. They did nothing to address the problem. Then the problem explodes in their face. People die, and they come back with, well, we're not going to take a look at anything else. It's the guns. We got to ban the guns. Now, this guy is mentally defective. If it wasn't a gun, it would have been a knife. It could have been a bomb, which he could have made from chemicals. He could pick up at any regular old store, any hardware store. There's any number of things. Look what happened in Oklahoma City. That was Ryder truck and diesel fuel and fertilizer. When you're sick in the head, you're the problem. You can't go around banning everything. Can't ban Ryder trucks and fertilizer because of a sicko. You try to address the sick person. This guy gave and he signaled what he was going to do. He clearly told everybody around him, from his command to his neighbors, perhaps even family members, he was mentally struggling with something. And yet nothing happened. And then when he blows up and does something unspeakable, now it's the guns and your rights that are the problem, not him and the system that failed.
Yeah, that's a very good assessment of this. And this is the part where you have to zoom out and look at everything that has happened across the board. Like, so Tim, here's a top of mind. We covered this. Michigan. Do you remember the tragedy in Michigan and the school shooting? The university?
Yeah.
Remember that? The backstory on that assailant, actively discharging firearms in a residential area. Cops came multiple times. Family members were saying multiple times, he's ill. We don't need this. We don't need this person to have guns. He needs help. Police didn't do anything. Everyone knew about it, and this tragedy happened.
The family asked for help. They didn't get any.
This continues to repeat.
Yep.
It continues to repeat. And the gall of these leftist gun controllers who get on Twitter and their little virtual moral high ground, and they just blast anybody who would believe in gun rights without even looking at any of the details.
Yeah.
And then when the details come out, they go, "No, well, is that the Office of Gun Violence Prevention? What are they talking about today?" And it is the most disgusting, disingenuous, vile approach to things.
It is.
And like you said, it's ignorance. Sorry.
No, but here's the irony in their behavior, the anti-gunners' behavior. So they'll focus on an event like what happened in Maine, right? That's a one-off event. And if you take a look at events like that, they're really not as common as you might think. And the number of people killed by them isn't, tens of thousands of people like the anti-gunners would have you believe. And I'm not downplaying the fact that people have died, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these anti-gunners constantly want to focus on AR-15s and assault weapons and things like that. But in the grand scheme of things, if you take a look at FBI statistics, we've quoted them many times before, less than 500 instances every single year, a rifle of any type is misused in a crime where somebody's life is taken. Okay, 500. Of those 500 or less, there's what? How many of those would be of the assault type?
Very few.
Right? Very few. So they're trying to convince you that there's an AR-15 lurking behind every bush, that the rifle itself is going to jump out and get you. But the reality is you're more likely to be struck by lightning. What they will never talk about, at least not yet, because first they got to get the low-hanging fruit in their view, which is assault weapons that they've deemed, air quotes. So they want to go after those because they think that's an easy mark. Right? Who needs a weapon of war? They can spin everything up to where they can get those. And once they get them, then they're going to say, well, look, nothing really happened. We didn't really fix anything. You people are still misusing firearms. And it seems like handguns are the most common. We didn't see this before. Oh my gosh. Of all the misuses of firearms every year in the United States, handguns are the actual most commonly used firearm for crime. Oh, well, we got to do something about that now. I mean, yeah, we got those nasty assault weapons off the street. Now we got to focus on these handguns. That's where they're going with this, folks. That's why you never see them talking about it, because they know even in the Democrat Party, there are people that will not touch taking away a person's right to self-defense using a handgun because it's the most commonly carried firearm for self-defense. They know that's political suicide right now. So they're going to go after assault weapons. They're going to condition everybody over the next few years because they're playing that long game. And then once they get the assault weapons and semi-automatics and 10-round magazine bans, and they still don't get their claimed desired outcome, which, look, they don't believe their bans are going to do anything until they get them all. So once they get the bits and pieces, then they're going to come for the handguns, the shotguns, and the sniper rifles, your deer gun. And so that's where this goes. And that's what's so dishonest about what they're doing. And you never want to, you'll never hear these anti-gunners. They'll get all spun up about a guy in Maine that did something unspeakable, but they won't talk about the unspeakable acts of gang violence that occurred every single day in every major city in America, where 99% of the firearms misused are handguns, because it doesn't get them where they want to be right now politically.
Doesn't hit the narrative.
And that's how dishonest and disgusting these people are. Everything they do is a lie.
That's what gets me the most frustrated, to be quite honest with you, because they genuinely, and this is an overall ethos. So I'm not picking on one individual person. This is a general ethos. They will misrepresent things, tell you half of the story. They won't tell you the details that don't hit them. They won't tell you the true outcome, and it's all about incrementalism. And then at the end of the day, they go, "Oh, look, we've came so far. Why not just do the final step?" They are standing on tragedy in order to strip the rights of an entire population because they want their political narrative. And that right there is, honestly, if I'm boiling it down, that's what makes me the maddest, on top of the fact that in that pursuit, people are actually dying. And that is so messed up. But anyway,
let's also want to throw out
there's
there,
even more.
Well, but I want to also throw out there this disclaimer, because someone will jump in the comments and say, well, you're advocating for a handgun ban. No, I'm not. Guns are not the problem. What I'm showing is their dishonesty, right? Handguns aren't the problem. Rifles aren't the problem. We've had guns in this country since our founding. It's not the problem. They don't want to address the problem because it doesn't get them where they want to be politically. Anyway, go ahead.
No, that is correct. No, I think that's correct. That's a very good disclaimer. I feel like we checked. I think you did pretty good on that one. I didn't feel like you were implying that. But let's get to 4. So this is. I'm going to get angry again.
Here we go.
So the order only applied to U.S. Army issued weapons and ammunition, and not to piece of human filth's personal weapons cache, because they were owned in a civilian capacity. The Army also said Monday that the U.S. Army Reserve Surgeon's Office and U.S. Army Reserve's medical management team made multiple attempts to contact piece of human filth. Okay, so those are concerns. Those are concerns. Let's jump into 5 of what they did with the people, like with actual civilian. So, of course, Tim, the Army takes all allegations seriously, and due to ongoing Army investigation, they can't go into further details, of course. But here we go. The Sagadahoc County Sheriff's Office said Monday night that the department received an email from the reserve unit asking for a wellness check. Okay, a deputy was sent out to perform that check on the 15th and 16th of September, but that piece of crap wasn't home. And a day later, a deputy made contact with the unit commander, who said he had no more weapons from the reserve, per the sheriff's office. And the department said it also reached out to the piece of crap's family. Well, what do you think the family said, Tim? Just bottom level. I'm about to show you what the family said. What do you think?
I don't know. I haven't read this yet,
face,
but I'm guessing they probably said, yeah, he needs help.
Oh my gosh, Tim, you're correct.
Gee, how could I have predicted that?
I don't know. It's crazy. But on September 17th, remember, this happened mid to late October. On September 17th, 1 month before, a deputy made contact with the piece of crap's brother, who told our office that he would work to secure any firearms that said piece of crap had access to. The deputy also asked the family would call back if they believed piece of crap needed an evaluation or was a risk to himself or others. That came from the sheriff's office.
That sounds like their red flag law.
That sounds a whole lot like a yellow flag law wellness check. They all knew. They all freaking knew.
Yep.
And there's no rage from the Democrats. I mean, not from the Democrats. That's not correct. There's no rage from the anti-gunners. There's no any of the people that were calling everyone else who believes in gun rights all the names under the book, blaming everything for what everything happened. No. Oh, anyway, let's continue. Let's continue on. Let's see what happened. Did you know there's 575 mass shootings in the United States this year alone? Lie. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Bro, like, I feel like, is this what it's like to be you?
I know. Oh, it's when you peel back, the layers of this onion, and you see the strategy being used by the anti-gunners. It is so disgustingly dishonest. And it's so easy to see. We point it out so frequently here on Second Legacy, and yet still nobody really globally is talking about it. I mean, we need to point out the fact that these people don't. Again, we just need to point out the hypocrisy, the lies, the misdirection, and we need to keep doing it, because they hammer us in social media. It is so frustrating to get on X and see, the pro-gun versus the anti-gun comments. It just seems like the vast majority are anti-gun, pushing false narratives, lies, bad false statistics, and they just keep this wheel turning. And they are changing minds of those fence sitters. And I've seen people, I mean, take a look at the Democrat in Maine that just decided, well, you know what, now I am for
Representative Golden.
Right.
Representative Golden.
It's that pressure. And that's what they're trying to do through their misinformation, through their lies. They're trying to apply so much pressure that you fold. And many times it does work.
Guess who's not folding, baby?
Nope,
guess
never.
Who's not folding? Nope. No folds here. I am starched.
Yep.
Anyway. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this last one, I can get through this, Tim. I can get through this. I believe in myself. All right, number 7, because this one, oh my God. Okay, here we go. Authorities also issued an alert known as a File 6, warning law enforcement agencies across the state that human filth was suffering from psychotic episodes and was known to be armed and dangerous. Last week, a U.S. Defense Department official confirmed to ABC News that piece of crap was behaving erratically while deployed over the summer with his Army Reserve unit and in New York to support summer training for West Point cadets. So all of these things that we just laid out, Tim, definitely the guns. Definitely an inanimate object was the problem.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, boy,
no gaps in the system anywhere across the board.
Yeah, sure seems pretty clear cut. It's definitely the gun. You know,
It's so it's so
Uh, uh,
maddening. I would genuinely sue if I was part of this family or any of these people who felt the impacts of this. I would sue somebody. I would. Oh my
well,
gosh.
then you, if you want to get into suing the police department for their inaction, just keep in mind the Supreme Court has held that the police department has no obligation to protect you.
Yeah, I'm talking about the military
Oh
more
yeah,
so than
and I
anything
don't know
else.
how things work on the reserve side of the house. On the active duty side of the house, you have no rights in the military. They can lock you up for any reason they want to. Now on the reserve side, I don't know if you're a reservist. Comment down below. Could the Army have stepped in and put this guy in the brig and forced him into an evaluation? I
It's
don't know. But if you do know, comment down below. I'd love to see those
it
comments.
is.
It'd be interesting to find
God,
out.
it's so
Right?
it's so maddening, dude. And on top of that, just to kind of tease something in the future, um, we had Dettelbach from the ATF giving a speech at Harvard last
Oh, I
night,
heard he was
and I'm
going to do
working on
that.
the get.
Uh,
Bro, I'm getting the clips in the very first 2 minutes. The words, "We have a Lewiston," which is the place this occurred. We have a Lewiston every day in this country. Um, what?
wow.
Oh, the disingenuousness. But don't worry, we'll cover that, people. We will cover
All
that.
right.
Oh
Well, that'll probably
God,
be
we'll cover
tomorrow's
that.
video. That one sounds like a doozy. I knew he was going to Harvard. I didn't know what he
Oh,
had said, but you know,
oh, it was so
I can
bad.
imagine it was
Oh,
going to
so
be bad because the guy doesn't do well in speeches. But anyway, all right, folks, thanks for watching The Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.